Hello and welcome back to FiddleUP. I'm Emerald Ray, and today we're going to learn a Quebecois tune called Le Forgeron. And Le Forgeron is a blacksmith, and this tune is also called Reel de Forgeron, which is just reel of the blacksmith. And there's a few different blacksmith tunes, so you might find another Forgeron tune that is a different version. But this is one that is very commonly known. This is a very common Quebecois tune. It's like a quintessential staple in the repertoire. So if you're interested in getting into Quebecois music, this is a really great place to start. And it's really a really good example of that classic Quebecois crookedness. All the tunes are a little bit crooked. And this tune isn't sort of, a lot of the tunes are not technically crooked, but the phrases change up. And that's what we're going to be talking about in this tune today. Because this tune, the B part goes 3 times. So that's kind of crooked already. But then also the phrasing is kind of off. It kind of feels like there's a shorter bit and then a much longer bit and then another longer bit. But it's really all still fitting into, a certain amount of bars. It's just kind of how Quebecois music works and how a lot of much older music works. There wasn't kind of this standardized set thing that people used to do sort of in the 18th century and before. So musics that kind of harken back to that era. It was really kind of in the 19th century, early 20th century where things started to get a lot more standardized. And, and that goes for the instruments as well. There used to be a lot more variety, a lot more flavor. And old time music and Quebecois music are sort of in the same, we can do whatever we want category. And I really love that so much. So this tune is an A major, and we're going to be starting off, and it's a reel, a crooked reel. And so we're going to be starting off, there are 2 top strings here. So we're starting off on a C sharp on our A string and up to the open E. So that whole first bar sounds like this. Nice and easy. Next phrase. And let's try that again. So that's a C sharp going to the open E. And then F sharp. And then up to the A. Down to the F sharp. Open E. And then down to the D on your A string. Excellent. Let's try that again. So the first 2 phrases sounds like this. Excellent. So moving swiftly on, we have so there's a lot of movement going on there, but it's kind of just taking things in a little bit of a scale pattern. So it's nice and easy. So we're going to start with the C sharp on your A string, down to open A, and then 1, 2, 3, B, C sharp, D. And then going up to the E, the F sharp on your E string. So that's F sharp, E, D. So that whole phrase together sounds like this. One more time. So the only thing that's a little bit confusing is you're going down and then you're going up and then you're going down again. And then the next phrase starts on the C sharp to the D, open E to the F sharp, and then we're going down again from the G You see we're going up and then down. So all together, those two phrases sound like this. Try that one more again. So there we go. So those phrases can get a little bit squirrely. You know, it's kind of some filler there. So if you feel like you're having trouble memorizing that, it's just going to take a little extra time. Maybe sit back and listen to it a few times and try to sing along with it. That is really the best way to learn any of these tunes. So, so even if that seems tricky at first, that sort of phrase pattern is going to come up in a lot of different tunes. So once you've got that one, you'll kind of go, oh, okay, I kind of get it the next time. So let's try that all again. All right, excellent. So let's try everything that we have so far. We have excellent. And now continuing on, we have a phrase that you will recognize. Now, sometimes I take that with an E, with an A instead of a, or what do I do? So if you were hearing that a second time, that's just because I think it's a really good time to add a little variation. So you could play, or it's just kind of, that's kind of a very natural spot to do something a little bit different there. But you can always just stick to the regular old, especially as you're first learning the tune. It's good to kind of keep it simple. So the next phrase is the same again. And then again, it's a lot of similar stuff moving forward. All right. So let's try that again. So that's the same as before, and then, so that's C sharp, C, sorry, I'm trying not to say the numbers. C sharp, B, D, C sharp, A. So that's just all in the A string, and then if you want to add a little trill in there, just giving it a little bit of a triplet feel. Then that adds a little bit of prettiness in there, and it kind of smooths it out because that C sharp kind of feels a little bit blocky. And that just kind of smooths it out a little bit. All right, so we have the whole A part now. So let's try the whole thing really slowly. So here we go. there we have it. That is the A part. And now we're going to get into the B part, which is super fun. And if you were listening to it at the beginning and going, I don't know if I can do that, don't worry about it. It's actually not that hard. It sounds a lot fancier than it is, which is the best kind of tune, in my opinion. And even though it is a little bit tricky with those string crossings, because we are crossing over, it's okay because you're actually going to be barring over with your first finger on the bottom two strings. So it's really not going to make a difference what you do. I'm going to show you how to make this sound really cool without any effort, and you're not going to be skipping the D string, and it's going to sound really cool without very much effort. So the only thing that might be a little bit confusing about these phrases, and I apologize for my teaching in advance if this is like, feels like we're out in outer space, this phrasing is gonna feel really off, and I'm gonna break it up as best I can. But honestly, everybody thinks about these phrases in a slightly different way, and that's okay. That's actually what makes it sound really cool when people are playing this stuff together, because it feels like we're all off in outer space, but somehow on the same page at the same time. So I'm going to teach you the way I think about this tune, and if you have a slightly different way that you think about it, that is okay. As long as we all play the same tune at the end, then it's fine. So the first little phrase here is, and some people play, and you can add that triplet in later if you feel like you want to do it, but I never play it that way, so this is a little bit of my version. I feel like that gets me into the, I feel like it just is a little bit more continuity there, but you can do whatever you like. So the first phrase is, so I'm starting on my C sharp on the A string, C sharp, D, C sharp, B, A, and then going down to my E on the D string, and then the next part is, okay, so that's a long phrase, so don't panic. So these next two phrases are gonna be kind of a bar and a half, so that's why it's gonna feel a little bit weird. And now here's a bar and a half. Okay, so what's happening there is, so I'm going back and forth between my open A string and some notes that are in the going all the way down to the G string here. So we're starting with an F sharp on the D string, and then going down to an E on the D string, and then I'm going down to a C sharp on the G string. But I still have my first finger on the D string. So what you want to do is just put your first finger bar over the first two bottom strings. So that means I'm putting my first finger in between the G and the D string. So I just have an A chord down here. So do you see how that works? I'm playing my F and E there, but I have my finger over the G on the bottom. Okay, so if that feels weird, don't panic. So we're gonna go F sharp, A, E, A, C sharp, A, B on the G string. And again, my first finger is still on the bottom. And then C sharp, A. Sort of makes sense so far. So we have F sharp, E, C sharp, B, C sharp, one more time just so you can get used to it. Yeah, cool. All right, so we have. So I'm immediately putting my first finger down on the bottom there. F sharp, E, C sharp, B, C sharp, A. Okay, let's try that together slow. One more time, a little bit slower. All right, and the next phrase is. So that's nice and easy. So that's a slight variation on the first phrase. So starting on the C sharp, D, C sharp, B, A, and then going down to your E, F sharp, A. One more time. And then C sharp, E, E, up to the F sharp. So that's open E, C sharp, B, C sharp, A. Okay, so the whole phrase together sounds like this. And then it goes into the first phrase again. So I'm going to go ahead and just play all of this really slowly because I feel like it's actually harder to break this tune up a little bit. So I'm gonna play the whole B part really slow, and we're just gonna do this all together a few times. And that way, again, if you're thinking about it in a slightly different way, that's gonna kind of settle in a little bit faster. So here's the first phrase. And again, put your finger on the bottom. Let's do it a couple more times, even slower than that. Even if you're kind of getting it, let's just really break this down really slow now that we've got a general idea of the shape. right, so let's try that again. Let's do the whole thing with repeats 3 times. So there you have it. That is the end of the B part there. That 3 times through the B part. So if you're feeling like that's awkward, that is actually totally normal. And it's totally normal even if you're used to learning crooked tunes. They feel off, and that's why they're crooked. That is the beauty of them. And it's the challenge of them as well. So crooked tunes are never gonna feel quite right, and you're always gonna be going, wait, did I play that right? They kind of put you off your balance, but that's why they're so beautiful and so cool. And especially if you're somebody who really appreciates really hard tunes, that's gonna be something that you gravitate towards, where you're like, oh, it's like a weird jigsaw puzzle with a bit sticking off of it. And so, yeah, you're never going to feel totally comfortable in a crooked tune. And that's just the way it is. So if you don't love that feeling either, maybe crooked tunes aren't your thing, or, maybe you just need some time to get used to it, because it's good uncomfortable. Do you know what I mean? It's really fun. So let's try the whole tune together. The A part is, and then the B part is. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So there you have it. That is Le Forgeron. And I hope this gets you into Quebecois music. So in terms of playing this tune, Quebecois music is not super duper full of ornamentation. It's not like Scottish music or Irish music where there's a lot of little trills and things going on. So you don't actually have to throw this throw the kitchen sink at this like you would for a Scottish tune or an Irish tune, but absolutely go for it if you want to do some genre mixing. You know, trills are always welcome everywhere, I feel like. And so you're just going to be kind of going for the danceability of this tune. Going to want to put a lot of double stops in, just really make a meal out of that, you know, open A and E at the beginning. And of course, all these double stops down here. You know, you can really use the whole fiddle here. So feel free to try that out. And if you have your first finger is strongly anchored on that bottom strings, you're going to be able to just go crazy with your bow, and it's just going to be really wild and fun. And then, so as far as the danceability of the tune goes, you want to make sure you're taking this one at a nice fast clip. And if you're not all the way up to fast yet, you want to make sure you're keeping it slow, but keeping it groovy. So you know, really be feeling that dee 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 da 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 da. But what will really take this tune all the way up to advanced level is to do the foot tapping along with it. And for that, you can check out, I have, in the movement section, I have a video on all the different types of foot taps. And at the end of that video, I show you how to do the Quebecois pot de rythme, which looks like this. So you're going to take your feet and do a right, left, and then a big smack with your right foot. So da 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 da. And so I'm trying to do it here. I have my feet muffled, unfortunately, for all of these tutorial videos, but I was doing it a little bit in the beginning if you could hear that. But if you have that chicka cha chicka cha chicka cha chicka cha. So you can't hear my feet super good right now, but definitely look up some Quebecois music so you can hear it. You know, listen to some Quebecois music so you can hear that. It's like a train that's just going all the time. You know, that's the chicka cha chicka cha chicka cha chicka cha chicka cha. So if you really want to get this tune up to advanced level, adding the foot percussion is essential, because the foot percussion is happening all the time in Quebecois music. So it's a really big part of the music. And the bands that you see out at festivals and things like that, they spend a lot of time making sure they get the right foot sound. They all have their microphones and their foot boards and all that stuff. So the foot percussion is a big deal in Quebecois music. So it's very essential. So that is something to add to your Quebecois music and something to add to your foot tapping repertoire as well. I highly recommend everybody try out all the foot taps, especially the Quebecois one. So that is Le Forgeron. I hope you enjoy this tune as much as I do. I hope you go to Quebec sometime. I've spent a lot of time in Quebec and I really love it up there. So I will see you in the next video.